there's something that you want, that's to make content, that's to get insanely fit, to run ultra marathons, to get in the best shape of your life, no one is going to do that for you. Only you can do that. Good morning. We are officially 10 weeks out from the Moab 240. 240 miles across the Utah desert around Moab with 33,000 feet of elevation. As you guys know, I run some pretty ridiculous distances, so 240 miles might not sound like much, considering I've ran 572k around London, 960k across the United Kingdom. However, Moab 240 has got 33,000 feet of elevation. I have never done that in my life. I mean, 2 years ago, I ran around the United Kingdom, 960 kilometers over 11 days. That had a total of, I think, 25,000 feet of elevation. So even over the hardest thing I've ever done, which completely destroyed my legs and my body for about 6 months afterwards, that wasn't even the same amount of elevation that Moab has. So this is going to be hard on a level I've never experienced before. Now, over the next 10 weeks, I have to get good at two things: running uphill and running downhill. A lot of people think the uphills are what cooks you. It kind of does. The downhills are what hurts the most. The amount of force going through your legs. As you run downhill, there's further for your foot to travel. So it means your foot's gaining more momentum, which means by the time your foot and leg hit the ground, there is significantly more force to be dissipated across your legs, which means your legs have to handle much more forces, which ultimately means they get damaged more. David Roche, the course holder of Leadville, specifically does fast and heavy downhill work once a week in the build up to the Leadville 100. Now, am I gonna break the Moab course record? Probably not, I'll be honest with you. I don't think a 210-pound man is ever gonna do that. However, I want a good race. I wanna perform well, and I wanna do my best. So in order to prepare for this, I have to go and find some hills. Slight problem, I live in central London, and those of you who know London know it's really flat around here, except for one place. And I'll be honest with you, it's probably my favorite area of London. I'm gonna go Primrose Hill and run up and down here a bunch of times. I'm gonna start with fast uphills and slow downhills, and as the workout progresses, I'll slow down the uphills and start doing some fast downhill work to start crushing my legs. On the cards for today, we got 10k easy. That 10k easy is all the way up to Primrose Hill. I then got half an hour of uphill and downhill reps. Typically during an ultra marathon, you're running on fatigue legs 90% of the time. The only time you feel good is that first 10% of it. So a good way to mimic that is to do a lot of your sessions on tired, fatigued legs, like today. Easy part done. Now I got the hills. I know I talk a lot about enjoying the process and not being hard on yourself sometimes. There are times and moments where you have to be hard on yourself. The way I see it is don't take yourself too seriously, but take what you do fucking seriously. If there's something that you want, that's to make content, that's to get insanely fit, to run ultra marathons, to get in the best shape of your life, no one is going to do that for you. Only you can do that. Same way, no one else can fuck it up. It's all on you. Do it with a smile on your face. Don't be an arse on the process, but chase after the things you want in this life with a relentless pursuit. Because guess what? It's not happening otherwise. Running ultra marathons, these things are fun, these things are great, but to train for them hurts. There's an element of suffering with it, and it's fun. I like that. I find enjoyment after the process. During it, it's painful. I don't want to be there, but I know it makes me better. So when it comes to the hard session, when it comes to whatever it is you're doing, there's always a point of difficulty. That is where you need to be. That is that moment where you change. That forces you to change. You don't change in easy times, you change in the hard times. So by continuously working at those points, you just get better. Don't get me wrong, training shouldn't be punishment and all out pushing yourself all the time. It's progression. It's knowing when to push, knowing when to pull back. But on the days you need to push, you have to push so fucking hard. And it's not to say that all your training has to be really fucking hard. It doesn't. A lot of it is easy, a lot of it is volume building. But when it's the time to do something hard, you have to commit to that hard. You have to go all out for it. You have to push yourself to a point where you're uncertain of yourself. And that's the goal, is scaring yourself a little bit with how far you gotta go and how much you gotta push yourself, and then stepping forward through that. That really fucking sucked. But I'll come back in next week and do it again and get another rep in. Maybe get 2 more reps in. Maybe go a little bit faster. And because I'm pushing each week and it feels hard, I will get better. Doing something past the point of uncomfortability and it's really fucking hard, and then showing up again and doing it again and doing it again. It's a matter of fact, you just get better at things. And that's it. You're supposed to not be good at it. You're supposed to get better at it by trying again and failing. Trying, failing, trying, failing. That's all there is. The downhills suck so bad. My legs have gone to complete jelly. Hills, especially those downhills, completely murder your legs. That was hard. That was really hard. Hill reps total 250 meters of elevation up and down, and my legs have turned to absolute jelly. I've done 50 miles and 100 k's through mountains, and I know how tough they are. Especially coming towards the end of those, your legs are cooked. Unfortunately, 240 miles is so much further than anything I've ran over mountains before. As we're only 10 weeks out, I've got quite a lot of work to do between now and the start of Moab. That period, that journey to the start line is quite intense. Does that worry me? A little bit. What can I do about it? A lot. So far this year, 212 days into the year, I have ran every single day. The only way to get where you want to get to, especially in a year like this where I've got 3 big events, is to push through when I really don't want to do it. Ultimately, when you're training really hard, what you're building is 2 things. One, you're building a strong body, a body that can endure and withstand. The other side is you're building a mindset that is, no matter what happens, I will do this. That level of conviction, that level of self-belief cannot be imagined. You have to go through a period of hard work to come out the other side and be like, no matter what happens in this race, I am pushing forward. I'm going to finish this race. There is nothing that will stop me getting to that finish line. If you have any doubts in that, or your training wasn't perfect, or you weren't consistent through training, it's really hard to go into a race that level of confidence. So for me, how do I stay consistent, or what I do regarding the consistency of training? Every other day is a double session. So even today, I've done a pretty hard hill workout. I still have another session to do, so I'm taking it easy. I'm jumping on the bike, 45 minutes on the bike, zone 2, keeping it easy. Let's get it done. Now, I've been making YouTube videos properly just this year. I've been watching YouTube for 10 plus years. And something that all my favorite YouTubers have always done is a Q&A. I've never done a Q&A, so I put a post up on my Instagram asking, what do you want to hear in my YouTube videos? A little Q&A. First question, how did you get into running? I hated running. I've always hated running. It was the thing I was the worst at when I was growing up. I played rugby. The thing I hated about rugby was running. The thing I loved about rugby was the tackling, the team spirit, and the physicality to it. In 2019, I went through a bit of a change in mindset and where I wanted to be in life. I wasn't particularly happy with the choice I was making or the person I was becoming. And so I thought, what better way to change who I am by getting good, or trying to get good at the thing I hated the most. That was running. I would go out, my only goal was to see how long I could run a sustained effort for. My first run I went on like that was 7 minutes. I remember that feeling of sitting down on the curbside thinking, how on earth do people run marathons? There was no magical thing that happened overnight. I just stuck at it. It was just, can I run from here to this other point, 5 kilometers away, 10 kilometers away, as long as it takes without stopping. That was my only goal. My first ever race happened 3.5 years into running. So if you're new to running and you're thinking about how the hell I'm supposed to run a marathon, don't worry about that. That comes way later. Right now, just worry about how consistent you can be, progressively getting a little bit better, and enjoying the process. Like, it's not supposed to be a punishment. Focusing on consistency, how frequently you go out, whether you go out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, how many times a week you're doing that. That's where you should be focusing at the start. What's your favorite quote and why? I have a lot of favorite quotes. Follow me on Instagram. I post a quote usually once, twice a week. Sometimes a quote I've heard, sometimes a quote I've come up with myself. I put this on Instagram this week. It's not actually my quote, I saw it in someone's post. My goals and dreams are bigger than how I feel on a day-to-day basis. That has been firmly implanted in my brain since I read it last week. Yeah, find a good quote, write it out, have it somewhere public. I have a whiteboard behind me. I often have a quote of the week on there. Not this week, that's like plans for YouTube and projects we're working on. But I generally try and write 1 quote a week on my whiteboard. I'll see it many times a day. I look at that whiteboard first thing in the morning, and that gives me encouragement, motivation, and just puts me in the right headspace for the day. What football team do you support? Luton Town. I was born in Luton. My dad was born in Luton. My granddad was born in Luton. He was born in Wales, but moved to Luton at 5 years old. My dad always says, you can change your hairdresser, you can change your missus, you cannot change your football team. So I don't have a choice no matter. I was born there. My dad took me to games when I was younger. I don't really care about any other football team other than England. Luton Town and England. That's What is harder, running 100 kilometers or a full Ironman? Great question. I've never done a full length Ironman. I grew up cycling, and swimming was my big thing when I was younger. My mum's a swim coach. An Ironman is much harder to train for. It's 3 different disciplines, requires so much time and energy to focus on. And everyone I know who competes at Ironman is a savage. I do think on the event side, 100K ultramarathon might be a bit harder, but to train for, yeah, a full length Ironman, significantly harder, more expensive, time consuming. Anyone out there who races Ironman, you guys are savages. The utmost respect. Trying to do a run after a bike session or a swim, I'm good. I'll stick to one of them. Favorite thing about your new house? Good question. As you can see, I'm in my new house. So I moved in here 8 months ago. I'm currently trying to turn this into basically my favorite place in the world. I love being here. I love being at home. I know I travel a lot, but that's usually for a purpose. Favorite thing about it? Motorbike's pretty cool. Red Bull fridge. Not gonna lie, thank you Red Bull for sending that to me. The fact that the ceilings are super high. It's in central London. I can get anywhere in London, 15, 20 minutes on a line bike. I love that. I love that. I'm in the river, I can run by it. It's my first apartment in London that I've had on my own. And I think that's a big milestone, to be in a position you can afford your own place in London, especially when it's quite nice. That was a really special thing for me because I left my old work 4 years ago and I made a commitment to just go into content with not many followers or not many subscribers. But I took a leap of faith, and in doing so, my lifestyle before, which was quite expensive, I was making good money. I had to kind of make a few sacrifices. I lived with friends for 4 years in a shared house. I had to reduce the spending of the lifestyle I had, bring things down to a budget that I could live on. And so it's nice now that those sacrifices are paid off and I'm in a position where I can call this my full-time job. I'm building from it. You know, I've invested into different businesses from this. I've grown businesses from this. It's a really nice place to be at. It is a relentless work. Like, I used to have a pretty high pressure job. I would say content is on par with how high pressure that is. I'd say there's a lot of fun bits to it. There's a lot of downsides to it as well. I'm super grateful for it. It's something that I always wanted to do. I remember when I was like 22, 23, people started going out making content. I judged them for it, but really deep down, I actually wanted to do it myself. And it wasn't until the age of 30 I started making videos on TikTok. So if you're at a stage of life where you think, I'm too far down the road, I can't do this, it's never too late. Whatever stage of life you're at, it's never too late to change. Whether it's your health, your fitness, your career, whatever it is, whatever position you find yourself in, it's never too late to change the things that you want to change about yourself. But you need the confidence to start and the grit to keep going. Because I tell you what, it is not easy. It took me 9 months to get to 10,000 followers on TikTok, and that was a grind, and I thought about quitting many, many times. I'm highly grateful I didn't, because I wouldn't be here doing this if I had. If you're watching this, you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your time here. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's the only thing I ask for. But other than that, I hope you're getting after it. Hope you're training well. I do my best to get back to every single person who comments on my YouTube videos. So if you have any comments, have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll get back to you as and when they come in. And I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your summer.